Well, that was certainly a game that happened, wasn't it? Lightning fall 7-3 to the New York Rangers, and it's time to ask the question, should we be worried about Andrei Vasilevskiy? We'll dive into it on today's Locked On Lightning.
You're Locked On Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Lightning your first listen of the day. Every single day, we are your free daily Tampa Bay Lightning podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we want to begin with a shout out to our everydayers, those of you tune into every single show, every single day. We love you, we appreciate you, and we appreciate you making the Locked On Podcast Network the number one sports podcast network in the country. I'm Nick Morgan, and I am joined by the Hardys to my Carl's Jr., Greg Stephen. And Greg, if we're doing plus minus, I feel like we should give ourselves a minus because I feel like everything we said on yesterday's show kind of jinxed the team.
Yeah, I completely agree. Welcome into everyone, but yeah, I'm giving the minus to myself for sure. I mean, I super reverse jinxed by predicting 6-1 Bolts. That was just a mistake. And I welcome all the hate comments because I deserve them.
In your defense, somebody did score 6 goals last night.
That is true. I did take the over.
There we go. You did take the over. So, hey, small victories here. Yeah. Everything that could have gone wrong for the Lightning seems like it went wrong last night. Obviously, Andrei Vasilevskiy, in my opinion, Greg, did not have a great game, was pulled after the second period. And I think there are some numbers out there to maybe raise the question of Andrei Vasilevskiy's struggles this season. Plus, because it wouldn't be a Lightning game in November without some injuries, Brandon Hagel left the game in the first period after a hit in which possibly some fans are saying might have been a little bit dirty. We'll debate about whether it was a headshot. Maybe it was just a hockey play gone awry. But let's begin, for those of you who weren't able to see the game last night, with a quick recap. And if you're a fan of entertaining first periods, this was the game for you. Yeah. 4-3 after one, Greg.
Yeah. I mean, I was there and it was a good time. I mean, 4-3 in the first was nuts. I mean, everyone was celebrating constantly, whether you're a Rangers fan or a Lightning fan. It was a fun period, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah, obviously Lightning down 4-3. We had goals from Scott Sabourin, who just got called up before the game. We mentioned on yesterday's show that the Lightning were probably going to bring some people up from Syracuse. Zemgus Girgensons, noted scorer, gets his third goal of the year. And then Jake Guentzel, a shorthanded goal on a semi-breakaway for his 7th of the year. But yeah, it was, if you watch that whole period, Greg, love the way the Lightning battled back from those 2 quick goals from the Rangers, but still a period that you kind of watch and think the Lightning can probably do better in a lot of spots here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just a bit of a mess allowing 4 goals in one period. But you're right. I think the resilience is key in this period as well, because going down 2-0 could easily deflate your team and it could be 5-0. So 7-3 is not the worst outcome.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I love the Lightning for the way they fought back in this game. I thought overall they played well enough to win this game, but then we get to the second period, Greg, right at the end there. This is the moment that a lot of people are talking about for Andrei Vasilevskiy. Goes side to side, just trips, has a little whoopsie daisy on the ice, kind of looks like a 8-year-old trying to learn to skate for the first time. And Vincent Trocheck's able to put one in there. Not the best night for Vasilevskiy, pulled after the second period. First time he's been pulled since 2024. So it doesn't happen often.
Nope.
And yeah, I think that was just the story of the night, Greg, was a couple of those yippee goals from Vazzy, especially, you know, the last one aside, but I would say the third and fourth ones weren't great either.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely debatable. The Will Borgen goal, I think, was maybe a little bit deflected, so I'll give him a little room there. But yeah, I mean, that fifth goal is tough. that's a tough one to watch.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that more in the second segment.
Yeah, Rangers added 2 more in the third period, one on Jonas Johansson, who came in relief, and one on the empty net. So 7-3 final score. It's interesting to judge, Greg, because I think the scoreboard doesn't necessarily do it justice. I think for the majority of the game, I thought the Lightning outplayed the Rangers. It was just some bad goals from Vazzy in there that I think opened the door. We'll talk about Vasilevskiy in a second, but let's get to our plus minus. This is going to be a little bit tougher than usual, but Greg, give me a plus from this game. What did you like?
Yeah, I'm just going to go with the resilience like we were just talking about. I think they easily could have just kind of surrendered this game after the start they had. But they did battle back, like you mentioned, and ending the period 4-3 is not a bad thing by any means. I mean, that just shows, again, you fought back and you made it a game, and it was only a 1-goal game. That's a hockey game. So they were in this game up until the very end of the second, like you said. I think this game really could have gone the other way, theoretically. But obviously with some of the fluky goals, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. I'm going to give a plus to the newbies in this game.
Nice.
Not necessarily newbies, but guys coming back into the lineup. We had Scott Sabourin, who was recalled before the game, gets his first goal as a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I just looked this up. First goal since the 2019-2020 season at the NHL level. So it was good to see him rewarded. Boris Tkachuk was the other guy called up from Syracuse before the game. And John Cooper said after the game, he said, I thought Boris might have been the best player for us on the entire night. And, I loved seeing that from him. You had Curtis Douglas and Jack Finley, both of them, had been out of the lineup for a while. Both of them come back in due to injuries, and they both get their first career points. Mm-hmm. So some kudos to the guys that are coming back into the lineup. We mentioned on yesterday's show, here is a prediction that came true, Greg. Mentioned on yesterday's show, whoever came in, whether it was, somebody with a little bit more offensive upside like Jacob Pelletier, whether it was one of the veterans, we wanted to see them come in and make an impact. And hey, the guys that came into the lineup, they did play well and they did make an impact.
Absolutely. And that Scott Sabourin goal, wow, what a shot, man. I mean, this is a great shot. And I think Shesterkin was kind of thinking pass potentially, but still, he put it right in the corner. And that's a great shot. I mean, over glove side too.
Yeah, for sure.
On a good goalie, by the way.
Yeah, on a great goalie. And Shesterkin, I thought, played pretty well throughout the game. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You got a lot to pick from, but let's go minus. Let's go a negative here.
Yeah, for me, it's the Cooch turnovers. I think in this game, we really, really saw that a lot, more than you'd like to see from a guy like him. And it's something I've touched on in the past, but he's cleaned up recently and looked much better. But in this game, he did not look good to me. A lot of just blind turnovers that really could have been different plays entirely, like putting the puck in the corner if you have nowhere to go. Instead of just doing these spinorama, no-look backhand passes that you hope get through. Pretty silly. I think, you want to see him play a little more fundamentally, and we didn't see that. And I think he recorded 4 turnovers on paper, but overall, I would argue there were more than that. Whether he was touching the puck or not, he could have made a better impact on the ice throughout this game.
Yeah, I agree with that. 4 turnovers for him. I thought Braden Point kind of had a quiet night too. For me, I have got to go my minus as the Charles-Edouard Destow's debut on the top line. Because he was... it was a rough night for Desto, and I don't want to discredit anything that he's done so far this season. So I'm just going to keep it to this game, but he jumps into the number 1 defenseman spot alongside JJ Moser because Victor Hedman was out this game like we thought he might. And he looked out of place at times. And the stats from this game are pretty jarring. 14% expected goals for percentage. 14%. To put that in perspective, like 50 is average. Like 50 is in a good spot.
Yeah.
Anything below that is you're getting outplayed. Anything above that is you're outplaying the other team.
Yeah.
So to be 14% from your number one defender, that's not a good game impact score.
Right. And he was -5.
Yeah, and for anybody who likes the more traditional -5 in this game, that's not good.
No.
And look, like I said, Greg, I am not going to make this a big thing about Destow. I'm not going to say all the experiments failed because he's had an amazing season. I mean, he's played some awesome hockey. Just not the, big step up that I think we wanted to see from him.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think a lot of it too is maybe a little discomfort in the shuffling on the defense that they had to make, So I'm sure that's a big part of it. And then, knowing that you're stepping up into the first line is probably a little bit of a mental thing as well. And then let's not forget Vasi let in a few soft goals. So can't entirely blame him for being -5, but yeah, definitely not his best performance. And I bet you he bounces back. I'm not concerned about him at all. I think he's been probably the best Lightning D.
I agree with that. Yeah. Really solid season from him. And I know he'll bounce back. Just a little bit of a rough game, but
for sure.
A lot of room to grow. You mentioned Andrei Vasilevskiy. I feel like it's time to talk about him, Greg, because what did we say before yesterday's show? We want to see a little bit less of the yips in some of the okay, sort of savable goals that we've seen him let in.
Definitely.
Well, that certainly didn't happen yesterday. A couple of really bad goals from Vazzy. Is it time to hit the panic button on him yet in terms of his play this season, maybe his health or just his form in general? Let's dive into that topic when we get back. Today's episode is brought to you by DripDrop. Guys, I know when I'm hydrated, everything just works better. My focus, my energy, my mood, even my skin. This doesn't keep up with itself, people. That's why I've been using DripDrop. It's doctor-developed hydration that keeps me running at full power no matter what my day looks like. DripDrop isn't your average sports drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading brands, using a science-backed formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, and over 90% of top college and pro teams. I love using DripDrop as part of my morning routine. What I do is I take a packet, put it in my water bottle, shake it up, and I'm ready for the day. I stay hydrated all day long. I don't get any of those weird crashes, and it actually tastes good. Not like that chemical salt powder that you sometimes get with some of these other electrolytes. If you want to try it for yourself, listen up, because right now DripDrop is offering Locked On Lightning listeners 20% off your first order. All you have to do is go to DripDrop.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL. Again, DripDrop.com, promo code LOCKEDONNHL for 20% off. So stock up now before the heat hits too hard and keep your body and mind performing at their best with DripDrop. Welcome back to Locked On Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Stephen. And Greg, I think the big talker for a lot of fans after last night's game was the performance of Andrei Vasilevskiy, pulled right at the end of the second period there after the little whoopsie-daisy fall-down goal he had. But even before that, not the best performance from him. Let in 5 goals on just 13 shots. A measly .615 save percentage. And to be honest, everybody's talking about the 5th goal, the 3rd and 4th Rangers goals, and it looked, I would say, pretty savable as well. And I think a lot of people online have been agreeing. So I'll ask the question, Greg, how concerned are we that Andrei Vasilevskiy is still letting in a lot of these seemingly savable goals early in the season?
We're concerned. And you and I had a private conversation about this. I'm not touching the panic button, but I'm pulling the concern lever.
The concern lever.
The concern lever.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it, to me, makes me curious about his health more than anything, just because we do know at the beginning of this season, he kind of missed a little bit of preseason stuff because We don't really know why, to be fair.
Yeah.
And then we also know he did have a back procedure in recent years. So I don't know if his missed time at the beginning of this season had something to do with that, something new. I'm not sure. Could it be natural regression because of time and age? Not quite sure. It's not something I'm ready to make a decisive conclusion on right now because I think it is still early and everyone has bad games. But we saw some fluky goals against Vegas. We saw some last night. It's becoming a pattern, and the lever of concern is pulled for me.
Lever of concern. I feel like that's a thing we got to trademark and just keep on these future shows moving forward. I want to throw some Vasilevskiy stats at you.
Let's hear
and then maybe tell the story of just maybe matching the eye tests to the metrics.
Yeah.
Low danger save percentage. This is, basically the save percentage from like easy shots, like shots far away, just kind of wrist shots from the point, that kind of stuff. 971, 28th among all NHL goalies this year who have played at least 180 minutes, basically 3 games. High danger save percentage, 793, 43rd in the NHL. Goal save above expected, which is basically like measuring the metrics of the other team's quality of shots on goal versus how many saves you've made. Minus 1.31 expected goals this year, 38th in the NHL. According to the metrics, that means he's let in more goals than statistically and analytically he should have.
Yeah.
And then I think a big jarring one from me, Greg, is average goal distance. Average goal for Andrei Vasilevskiy this year, 22.31 feet away from the net. That's 50th in the NHL. If you're counting like the shorter distance as the better quality goaltender.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's letting in a lot from long range. A lot of stats, a little bit jarring about Vazzy's performance, Greg.
I mean, yeah, those are all alarming in my eyes. Like, you don't even see him in the top 10 in anything. You don't even see him in the top 20 in anything. No, he's not even ranked in the starting goalies in half of those. Like being 50th, I mean, that's not even a team, Like that's he's playing worse than some backups. I mean, obviously some of the backups have a smaller amount of games played, so their stats may be slightly skewed in that regard, but not great. I mean, and look, let's look back to Vegas real quick. He let in one that I was labeling very soft, sort of right in front of the net, kind of to the chest, and it just trickles through, sneaks in. And to me, maybe that's considered a high danger chance, and it's a close shot, but it should have been saved. And I think in years past, he makes that save every time. I think it's 100% save for him in the past. And to see that go in, that's where I began this conversation about Vasi, because it's a little concerning. And then you see this 5th Rangers goal where a basic goalie slide to the left, he just trips. Trips is maybe the word. Stumbles, lost an edge, however you want to frame it. Not something you see from him really ever, right? I mean, when was the last time he just like fell over like that? I can't recall a time.
Yeah.
So back to back games like that is just kind of like, it's concerning. It is.
Yeah. And you brought it up because I do want to point out that Vasilevskiy had a slow start to the season, has played statistically better the past few weeks. And the conversation with us was, he's not so back. It's like, okay, he's gotten better. He's had some really good games, made some really good saves, but it always seems to be like one or two of those. He probably would have saved that 5 years ago kind of goals.
Yeah.
And it is interesting because it was 2 years ago where he missed the beginning of the season due to back surgery, came back, and that was like the worst year of his career.
Right.
But then last year, when he had the full training camp,
big bounce back.
A big bounce back. In fact, he was one of the best goalies in the NHL last year, statistically. So I mean, maybe this is a little bit of me putting the tinfoil hat on, Greg, but I go back to the beginning of the season where he missed a week and a half of camp for that quote unquote mystery treatment that John Cooper is not really saying much about other than, guys, relax, not that big of a deal. And it really is starting to raise the question for me. Is Andrei Vasilevskiy hurt? Or at the very least, is he not in the best long-term hockey shape? And if the answer is yes, if there is a little bit of a health concern there, or you're maybe, as you said, seeing some signs of, I don't want to say age, but seeing signs of, hey, he's played a lot of minutes over the last 6-7 years. Yeah. Then it becomes a question of, okay, what do you do from the Lightning goaltending standpoint? Because you have Jonas Johansson. Do you trust him to kind of take on more of a starting load compared to what the Lightning have asked from their backups in years past?
Yeah, and it's a great question because, look, if we go to the playoffs and he lets in goals like he let in last night, you're getting bounced in the first round. I don't care who you're playing. You're going to lose. Yeah. I mean, the playoffs come down to defense and goaltending more than anything. And if you can't rely on him to make these key saves, at least the simple ones, you got a problem. And like you said, it's do you trust JoJo enough to carry that weight if he can't perform to where he needs to perform?
And JoJo's been great. I'm just throwing that out there too.
I think JoJo's a great goalie. I think a lot of it for me is that we haven't seen him play a significant amount of games, nor have we seen him play a significant amount of games in a row. What I would like to see at this point, I'm not bailing on Vasi yet. No. Like I said, it's just the lever of concern. But I would like to see JoJo play some more because, look, if this is an actual issue, and maybe there is an underlying health issue, like you kind of alluded to, you got to warm JoJo up to maybe take some of this load off because who knows? Maybe Vasi gets hurt, and then what do? You got JoJo, and then who do you have playing backup? Like no one reliable in my eyes. Like there's no one in the pipeline that we can be happy to see as a backup, I don't think. Mm-hmm. And it makes you wonder, like if you do look like you're in a playoff spot, are you trading for a goalie potentially? Like we'll have to see. This is just all speculation. It's too early to know, but yeah, look, I'm just hoping Vasi bounces back and resolves whatever's going on because that's really what we need,
Yeah. You know what we also really need, Greg?
Less injuries.
We need guys to stay healthy. Another injury to talk about. Brandon Hagel left the game early in the first period last night after a hit that some people say might be a little bit questionable. Was it a questionable hit? Or was it maybe just a hockey play? Let's dive into Hagel's injury, what it means for the team, and that discussion when we come back. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's not just hockey that's heating up, folks. The NBA is back. And whether you're a fan of the Magic, the Heat, or anybody else in the association, there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push towards a dub. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Again, all you have to do is download the app, place a $5 bet, and you can get $300 back in bonus bets. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. We're back on Locked On Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Stephen. And Greg, like I said, anything that could have gone wrong for the Lightning last night did go wrong because we have another injury to talk about. Brandon Hagel, early in the first period, goes in, driving towards the net, gets hit by Carson Soucy, in a hit that looked like, I mean, it's definitely a play you've seen 100 times before, but maybe some head contact there. Hagel goes down, slow getting up, is pissed, headed back to the locker room. Lightning bench is pissed. Hagel doesn't come back. We didn't have an official word from the team, other than he'll just be evaluated when they get back to or when, practice resumes and everything like that. Yeah, there's a lot of places we could start with this, Greg.
Rangers scored on that, by the way.
Soon as it score on that, yeah,
like immediately after.
That was second goal. Was that the second goal or is that the third goal?
I think it might have been the third goal.
Gotcha. Yeah,
can't recall exactly, but I guess I'll just start by saying I don't think this is a malicious hit by any means. Didn't leave his feet. Is it a penalty? That's a fair question. I don't think it's a suspendable hit by any means. I don't think that at all. I think this is like a hockey hit generally with like slightly higher contact than he should. I think you could maybe call it elbowing, maybe roughing, one of those. That being said, yeah, they call that a penalty. It's not a goal. That changes the momentum of this game. So if you do believe it's a penalty, it's a big issue because, I mean, the Lightning were pissed, obviously. Hagel's pissed because he knows he's hurt, I think, too. And there's a clip of him, like, slamming his stick. I'd have to go rewatch the hit several times to really, like...
I found the slow-mo.
Okay.
It is very hard to tell. You can see where there might be head contact.
Right.
You could also see where this is just very high in the chest. It's that close. And I'm with you because there's a lot of people saying like, headshot, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
AJ Greer, Panthers, reignited. I don't think it's that vibe. I think it was just Susie trying to defend space in front of the net and take advantage of a guy who was coming at him with his head down.
Yeah.
I think if there is, like, I'm with you. Like, if there is head contact, it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't a headshot.
Agreed.
If there was head contact, though, then you would have to maybe call that a reckless hit. And again, I think there's a difference between dirty and reckless.
Yeah.
And I think if there is head contact there, then it goes into reckless. And I don't necessarily think it's a suspendable hit, but if the NHL wants to crack down on any sort of contact to the head, you have to crack down on the reckless plays as much as you do the dirty plays. And so I do think there could be a fine coming out of that. If they go ahead.
I found a good slow-mo as well just now.
Okay.
And here's my true opinion. I think it's a clean hit.
But that's what I'm going to say on the other head, because it's that close. And if you really slow it down
right,
and it's upper chest, then it's a clean hit. And there's much ado about nothing there. It's going to come down, if there is any supplemental discipline, to like the finest of instant replays. It's going to be like that call to Toronto where they're just replaying the same angle
for 10 minutes.
Yeah. And if it's a clean hit, you know what? Like Carson Soucy is well within his rights to make that play.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
If you're Brandon Hagel, you
don't put your head down.
Yeah, you kind of have to keep your head up there.
Yeah, 100%. Got to keep your head up. I mean, I'm looking at a still right now. Carson's on his skates. He's got shoulder to chest, and yes, the shoulder ends like around the chin area, but he's not principal point face contact here. This is a clean hit to me. And sure, it sucks. Maybe you're injured and it's frustrating. You got popped. You got rocked. Let's be real. That's a good hit. And look, to me, that's a clean hit that turned into a great goal for the Rangers. And it sucks because I'm a Lightning fan. But look, I mean, that's a clean hit to me. And it sucks he's injured, right? But that's kind of all I can say.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Let's talk about just the impact of Hagel's injury. We didn't hear too much from the team.
Right.
I want to say somebody, it might have been Benjamin Pierce last night, that said, Hagel was in street clothes hanging around outside and seemed to be in good spirits. So maybe not, maybe it was more precautionary than anything else. But I mean, Greg, we had this big thing about injuries yesterday. I don't think that I don't think the Lightning can afford another injury right now.
Absolutely not. And you know what? Cirelli didn't even return yesterday.
Did he?
And we were talking about how he was, and he didn't play.
That's right. Yeah, we kind of locked him into the lineup thinking he was going to be back.
And I think that hurt them a lot in this game, by the way. I know that's a side note, but he wasn't there to play defense, and he's like one of their best defenders.
Yeah.
And then this happens to Hagel, and you kind of lose both your penalty killers. And not that the Rangers scored a ludicrous amount of power play goals, but I mean, you let in 7 goals without your 2 best two-way players. That's just the outcome. So now, like you said, what do you do? I mean, if Cirelli doesn't return and Hedman doesn't return and Hagel actually sits a game or 2 or more, this is a predicament, man. And then you have Vasi looking like the way he looks. Kucherov's making turnovers every play. It looks not so hot right now. They've been really great lately, but this game is trending in a severely opposite direction.
And you know what's crazy, Greg, is I go back to what I said at the top of the show. With all of that, I still think the Lightning played well enough to win this game. No,
completely agree.
Yeah, so it's crazy. And obviously, the next game on the schedule is the Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
Which is the first time these two teams have seen each other since the end of the postseason brouhaha. There's going to be not only some bragging rights, but Scott Sabrin might be on the ice for this one.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
There may be, we're going to dive into this tomorrow, but basically this is a game in which you're going to want to be at full strength for. And if you're John Cooper, I don't necessarily know if you want to test some of these players coming back from injury. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the Lightning kind of handle this next stretch. And again, they're off today, practice tomorrow before Saturday's game. They also have a Sunday game against Vancouver. Not only playing the Panthers, but you're playing a doubleheader this weekend. So
right. To add to your point as well, this is a game, honestly, I just sit Hagel. Because I think Hagel specifically, one, he if he is like a little injured from that hit that he just took, I mean, there's no reason to risk it. And 2, I would argue he has some of the most bad blood with the Cats. I mean, with him and Ekblad and all that, like, it's just not worth it. I think even if you lose this game, I think it's better to get healthier than it is to try and beat the Cats in this game.
I'm with you there. Like, I think you have to play a little bit of a long game. Well, as Greg mentioned, we're going to have more on this on tomorrow's show, including what exactly are we expecting as a result of that preseason finale? Like, do we think there's going to be any more bad blood? Do we think there's going to maybe be, some big Donnybrooks right off the bat? We'll also talk about some players that need to step up because, of all the people we mentioned, there's also a couple of top liners who have been sort of non-existent these past few weeks, and it's time to call them out. Obviously, big show coming up from tomorrow, and hopefully Monday morning when we come back, we'll have a little bit more happy hockey to talk about. Hopefully 2 wins and no injuries.
Yeah.
A lot to get to. So make sure you guys stay with us throughout the week. That's going to do it for us on today's Locked On Lightning. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day, and we will see you tomorrow for another new show. We'll see you then.